I lost. Okay. Cool. All right, so today we're talking about the 4 steps to a professional LinkedIn profile. I'm going to start off by just introducing myself real fast, and then I'll get just like kind of a brief overview of who was all here. So, how long you've been an alumni, just so I can kind of see where you all are. And then I'll ask a couple questions about how you've used LinkedIn so far in your professional career, just again, so I kind of know where the group is and what might be most best for you guys to utilize. So my name is Victoria Radcliffe. I graduated from Case Western University in 2019. I am currently at graduate school in University of Cincinnati for my public administration degree. Very excited for that. And right now I have 2 part-time jobs. One is I'm working at a daycare. I'm the lead school age teacher. The other one, I'm at a professional career consulting firm, and I work as the administrative assistant there. And actually, before I started working there, I actually was a client. When I first graduated, I was struggling to kind of find a job field that I really wanted to go towards because I was originally looking at theater. And then I kind of discovered that that wasn't where I wanted to be. So I did work with this company to try to find, what skill sets I had, and how to verbalize those on like a resume or a cover letter or on LinkedIn, and kind of find a good life path. So that's how I came into the public administration field. So that's what I'm doing now. Once I graduate, I hope to go and work into the nonprofit sector, specifically working with children's literature and literacy would be great. A Cleveland organization that I always love is the Cleveland Book Bank. So an organization like that would be awesome. So that's me. And that's my work at ProMark, which is the career consulting firm, is where I gleaned a lot of this information. I actually manage ProMark's LinkedIn page, so I kind of had to figure out the ins and outs of LinkedIn. So I've got a pretty good knowledge base on how to utilize it and how to utilize it best to make connections, to find jobs, to network, all those things that are pretty important nowadays when you're looking for a job and when you're trying to build your professional portfolio. So if everyone could unmute, I guess we'll go around. Let me actually get that list of participants up, and I'll just kind of ask each of you how long you've been in the professional space. So how long it's been since you graduated, your last college experience. And then how you utilize LinkedIn right now. If you have a profile, if you use it to communicate with people at all, or if it's just sitting there, that's fine. That's what mine was for a really long time. I literally just like sat in cyber world. So first on my list is Becky James. Would you mind sharing?
Yes, my name is Becky James. I have been out of school for 9 years. I graduated from the University of Cincinnati.
Hey.
And I have a LinkedIn account, but I don't use it.
Thank you for sharing. All right. Carolyn Johanningman, did I say that right?
Carolyn Johanningman. I don't know how bad my sound is right now, but I graduated in last May, and I'm the current Section H2 chair. But my LinkedIn, I'm on it about once a week looking for jobs. So it's pretty active. Pretty good.
Perfect. All right. Deirdre DeVitas.
Hi, I graduated from Carleton University in 2017, and I'd say I have a pretty active LinkedIn profile, but I've used it. I guess the use has changed. So I have used like the jobs section, and I've used it for finding jobs. But I've also, I guess now I use it more for promoting. I work in the public accounting world, and we're trying to use it more for promoting our firm stuff, and then also for staying in contact with a lot of my college classmates. I think I use it mostly for that now.
That's awesome. This might not come up later, so I'm gonna mention it now, but you can use hashtags on LinkedIn when you're making posts on behalf of like your firm or company. And just like any other social media platform, that will make people more likely to find your posts. So if you haven't been using hashtags, you can do that. Let's see. We're on Evan.
Hi guys, my name is Evan Harmon. I'm Section I-1 Chair. I graduated from Eastern Kentucky University in 2009, so I've been out into the workforce for a while. In terms of active status with LinkedIn, I do get on LinkedIn pretty frequently, use it for a lot of networking. I'm in a professional association with my work and with the type of work that I do. And so there's a lot of professional association networking that occurs there. And I'm on their board of directors. So there's a lot of involvement with like partners that we work with. So there's a lot of reach out that occurs through there. And then based on my career journey and where I'm kind of at professionally, I do get a considerable amount of reach out directly from recruiters, you know, wanting to recruit me or bring me on based on like the skill set that I have in healthcare IT. So, so I utilize it pretty heavily.
Rick Cazzato.
Hi everyone, so I'm Rick. He, him, his pronouns. I graduated from Truman State University in 2018. So this is my third year like post. I use LinkedIn mostly for connections and like adding people that I know and like adding like recommendations or like verifying like their skill sets mostly. But in my end, I work in the student affairs industry, and actually they tell us not to update our LinkedIn. So I used to have it really updated, and then I sort of have it just basic info now. So our job search process is very different than most of the other world. So, but it ebbs and flows based off of the year and what the trends are within the field. So right now mine's pretty bare. It was fully updated and just some basic info on there now rather than full in-depth details, but we'll see. I'm sure that will change again post-COVID.
Sabrina.
Hey, I'm Sabrina Zohorst. I graduated in 2018, so I'm still relatively recently out of school, and I have a LinkedIn profile, but I definitely don't use it like at all. So I kind of need to get it going and learn how to better use it, because I feel like every time I log in, I'm just like, well, I don't really know what I'm going to use it for, and then I leave it be. So I definitely need to start using it more often.
All right, and then Sean.
I'm Sean Ashley, alum of the Case Western chapter, graduated in 2001. Honestly, anymore, LinkedIn maybe about once, twice a year, keep up with former colleagues, but yeah, don't actively use it much, except when I'm job searching.
All right, so now that I have a better idea of where we all are, thank you all for introducing yourselves, and we are going to go ahead and jump in with our first step to a professional LinkedIn profile, which is the picture. So I'm going to show you my recreation of Dolly Parton's iconic meme. Oh, if it's going to let me. There we go. So if you guys, if you weren't on Facebook or things like that, this was something Dolly Parton did, and then it spread and a bunch of different celebrities did it, where you just showed each of your pictures. So looking at this, I like us to kind of discuss what differences that you see between these different social media platforms and why the differences might be important. So would anybody like to tackle that question? No.
So it's the audiences you're trying to reach. Where in LinkedIn, you're hitting a professional audience, where Facebook, Instagram, it's more social based.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you're presenting a different form of yourself in each one.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Anyone else want to talk about, in your Tinder profile picture, what might you try to highlight, or in your Instagram photo, what might you try to highlight? That's okay. All right. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go through each photo and talk about what makes it appropriate for that social media platform and why it's not appropriate for the LinkedIn platform. So I believe it's starting with Facebook. Okay, oh, but my thing is blocking it. Okay. So the first issue that this would have if you were trying to use it as a LinkedIn photo, and believe me, I've seen a lot of LinkedIn photos. For my job, I have to manage the connections of the two co-owners of the firm. So I have seen a lot of LinkedIn profiles, and people have done all of these mistakes. I see all of these every time I add all these contacts. People do this. You might be doing one of these things too and just not know that it's not appropriate for LinkedIn, and that's okay. But for Facebook, this is a picture of me and my fiance the day we got engaged. And so one, it's an issue because there's two people in it. So if I make a connection on LinkedIn and this is the picture I see, I might not know which one you are, right? People might be able to guess, like my name's Victoria, so you could probably guess that I am the woman in the picture, but my fiance's name is Rory. So if he had this as his picture, Rory is a pretty gender neutral name. So you would literally not know which one Rory is. And if you are going to meet this person, like I've had this problem before, which I'll talk more with the Instagram one, I literally couldn't recognize the person from their picture. And I was supposed to find them to do an interview with this person. Like I didn't know what they looked like. So I ended up asking random employees, like, are you blah, blah? Are you blah, blah? And I had to just ask random people because I had no idea what that person looked like because their photo was so bad on LinkedIn. The other issue with this is that it is related to a life event. You want your picture to be, I want to say out of time, but it shouldn't be a picture of you on your wedding day. It shouldn't be a picture of this is the when I got engaged. It shouldn't be something like that. It shouldn't be a picture of you in a birthday hat, right? It should be a professional photo where there's not any event being related to that picture. So how about for the next one? Does anyone want to guess what anything that's wrong with the Tinder picture? Why you wouldn't want to use it for LinkedIn?
One, the clothing.
You're right, I'm wearing a t-shirt. That's not professional clothing.
The animal as well.
Yep, perfect. So, yep, there is a dog in the picture. As much as you might love your dogs, they don't belong in your LinkedIn picture. Save those for, your Tinder, your Instagram, your Facebook, Twitter, whatever you want to use. They shouldn't be on your LinkedIn because it's not you. And your LinkedIn picture is a lot smaller bubble. And so you really don't want anything competing for attention. You want it to be you. The other issue with this picture is it is very outdated. My hair right now is a lot shorter than that. I know it's in like a little ponytail, but my LinkedIn photo, that's much closer to the length I have right now. So my hair it's so much longer. I also was wearing contacts every day when that picture was taken. Whereas now I only wear my contacts. I wore them for Halloween because I was going as a princess and the Rapunzel and she doesn't wear glasses. I'm gonna wear them for my wedding and that's like it. I always wear my glasses. So that doesn't look like me anymore. So don't use, high school picture, you at your senior banquet. Doesn't look like you anymore. Right? Right. We want a new person to guess what's wrong with my Instagram picture. Why that would not be appropriate for LinkedIn. No.
I would say for this one, it sort of is like the Facebook one. It sort of borders on. There's multiple people in there, but it's also like half cropped. So I think there's you lose the focal point of the face and who you are as a person.
Yes, I like you said you lose the focal point of the face, which is a problem. There's a couple of things that make that an issue in this picture. So there is another person, even though I kind of cropped them out. They're there. We are, shoulder to shoulder. There is no way I could just get her out of that picture. And the background, that's a very distracting background, right? It's not a whole solid color or, a gradient. We've got like this fake brick kind of going on. We've got a spotlight. We've got these painted lockers. There's all these different colors and materials going on in the background that are they're just distracting, and you're not focused on me. The other problem is that this isn't really me. This is actually me in the play. I don't know if you can see my mic on my face, but I don't dress like that. I don't wear my hair like that. Even though that length is length I have now, it's got it where it's completely flipped over. Like my part's over here when my part is really more towards the middle, and it is hairsprayed and gelled into oblivion. That is not a type of makeup I normally wear. I don't normally look like that. I was playing a character. And that leads to, it highlights a hobby, which is also something you don't need to do on LinkedIn. Your hobbies are not something that are really appropriate to put on LinkedIn. Even if they're innocent things like, oh, I am a skier, you shouldn't put a picture of you on the ski slope as your profile picture. That doesn't really need to be on your LinkedIn profile. It's just distracting. It's most likely going to make for a bad picture. And it looks more unprofessional than if you have a nice close-up of your face. So now that we know all of the don'ts, what makes the LinkedIn photo good?
So what makes it good is, you look really professional. The clothes that you have on reflect professionalism. You're not wearing things that are a little too flashy. It's pretty straightforward. I think it's always best to look a little bit more conservative in your profile pictures for LinkedIn, just because that is the first image that someone sees of you, and you just don't want to have inappropriate clothing on.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, from at least my experience, your LinkedIn profile picture should be kind of also like going to an interview in that regard. Is you're showing the company, this is the best I can present.
Yes.
Whereas you can always go down from there, but it's hard to show that you can go up.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, specifically in regards to the clothing, I agree. More conservative is better. It's depending on your industry. So, if you've got, even if you have more styles that might not be considered as conservative nowadays, if that's the industry you're trying to break into and that's kind of the cultural norm, on LinkedIn, you might just want to just deal with it and dress a little more conservatively. Yeah. So cool. And then the other thing, I think it was smize. Yeah. So it focuses on me. There's none other people. It's just me. Background is a plain gray background. This was actually a professionally taken photo, but it does not have to be. It just should have that kind of style where it's the plain background. It's just you. It's very obvious that person was centered on your face. And then you want to smize, do you guys know what that means? Smize? Any like past choir people or theater people? Smize is when you are smiling and you can see it in your eyes. So thank you. I mean, my Instagram photo, I'm smiling technically, but that would not be considered a smize, right? You want to seem like you are happy, like you are confident, because that's the face that you want to present to that company that you are trying to connect with or that person you're trying to connect with. Yeah. All right. We have any questions about the photo part? Okay. All right, so now we're going to move on to the headline. And this is when someone logs into their LinkedIn and they click on your name. It's just like Facebook. It's got a very similar setup. This is what they're going to see. So we're going to kind of break this down into parts. First thing we're talking about is the cover photo, which functions very similar to a Facebook cover photo. You can see that it sits in that same orientation where it's just behind your profile picture. And this is something that you want to reflect the image that you are giving out to the world. So if your image that you're trying to project is, you know, I've been working at this university for 25 years as in the, you know, an academic professor or something, you might have that university's banner or something like that on there, right? You can have your job, like a logo of your job or something like that as that banner. That is completely acceptable. I do not do that because my jobs are both temporary. I have 2 part-time jobs. Neither of them are the field in which I plan to stay. They are jobs that I have the skill sets right now to be in and that I want to be in right now while I'm continuing my education. So that is why I chose to have something that reflects more of the brand I'm trying to build so that when I apply for a job that is in the field I want to be in, which is the nonprofit world, it is very clear where my priorities are, and that is literacy, and specifically childhood literacy. So I chose to have these lovely books, right? I know I can say my mom, so I've been helping her with her LinkedIn profile. She works at Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and they do not allow their employees to put the Cincinnati Children's banner on their LinkedIn profile just because they're very cautious about where they put that name. So she has chosen to do, I think it's like a little like leaf or something, and it says like, building people or something. It's something similar to that. So it's something that you're proud of and something that you think you bring to that industry, right? So for me, it's the passion about literacy. That's why I have these books. To the next one. All right. We're going to touch on the profile picture real fast just to show the orientation. You really want your face to take up most of that bubble. So it's I'm going to use Facebook as a reference just because it operates very similar to Facebook. But if you are not a Facebook user and you have questions, let me know. You can pick, how far in you want to zoom it. You can pick where that little bubble is going to be. You want your face to be in the middle and you want your face to fill most of the frame, right? Cool. Perfect. And then this is your headline right here. I chose a quote from a human rights activist, Kofi Annan. Literacy is a bridge from misery to hope. So again, really, really driving in my brand of I am focused on childhood literacy. I believe that the ability to read and reading comprehension is very, very important to a child's development and to adults' development, right? That is a firm belief of mine. That is something that I'm going to carry with me and I'm going to try to help that cause, right? So that's why I chose that. However, if you are in a job search, you might put recent graduate with an engineering degree looking for future employment. You might put passionate problem solver looking for a job in the field of nursing, something like that, right? You want something short, sweet, that is you, right? If you're a student, when I was still at Case, I was still an undergraduate, putting, BA candidate for theater and political science 2019, that would have been a perfect headline for me. Cool. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about the number of connections. So at this point, I had 94. I think I'm a little above that now, which is a lot for someone my age that just graduated. That is a lot. But I also work in a job where I am meeting lots and lots of people. I get lots of people that come in and, I'm scheduling meetings for them. I'm talking to them about, their jobs and their industries and, a lot of people that have just been laid off. And so we're making those connections and they're telling me about the companies they work for. So I have the that I just happen to have the opportunity to make more connections. But really, you shouldn't be focused on that number. You should be focused on making meaningful connections. So you shouldn't be friending people that you know of, or that, oh, you think they might be helpful, but you've never reached out to them, right? You can reach out to them via LinkedIn. That's fine. But you shouldn't be making that kind of friend request connection until you've had a connection, right? So, for example, I messaged a woman who works for a local nonprofit in Cincinnati of, oh, could we have a phone meeting? Because I'm looked at your organization. I love the work you do. And I really like to talk about, as a new nonprofit professional, hopefully, how I should get into the business, what are best practices. So I had that phone meeting. And then afterwards, I actually sent her like the friend request kind of equivalent, the connection request, because I had that connection and she would know who I was at that point. Those are the only people that you want to connect with on LinkedIn. It's not like Facebook where, I friend all the people I knew in high school, even if they didn't like talk to me ever. I'm just curious and want to like see what they're up to. That's not what you do on LinkedIn. Okay, the last important thing here is on the right. It allows you to put 2 organizations, and you can list them however you want. For me, I chose to do my ProMark job and then Case Western Reserve University. I also could have put my daycare. I could have put University of Cincinnati because I'm there now. I could have hit Mount St. Joe University because I took a summer class there and I have that in like my qualifications of like, oh, studied constitutional law at Mount St. Joe University. However, the 2 that are going to be most helpful for me are ProMark and Case Western, because most of the connections I have, that's how they're going to know me. So if I send them a request and they're looking at me like, oh, I think I remember this person, if they look over and see ProMark, they might go, oh yeah, that's the administrative assistant at ProMark. She's the one who helped me do this and we had this great conversation. Yeah. Or they might go, oh yeah, she was in my class at Case Western Reserve and we did this project together. I remember now. So those are the 2 things you want people to help them remember who you are, right? So for the daycare, I don't have any connections on LinkedIn that are my coworkers from my daycare. I don't. And University of Cincinnati, especially with everyone being online this semester, this is my first semester. I think I maybe have 2 of my professors, right? So those are the 2 most helpful organizations for my brand and for reminding people who I am, right? Because that's the whole point, make an impression, make people remember who you are, right? Are there any questions about everything we just went over with the headline? Does anybody have an idea of how they might edit their LinkedIn headline now that we've talked about this? A new picture, a new phrase they might put in?
I didn't know about you being able to select the 2 things on the right hand side. So I'll definitely be updating that part.
Yeah, I didn't realize you could select it until I added University of Cincinnati as a new education. Because when I started, I put in, under education, I said, oh, MPA candidate for this year, and it automatically bumped it up. And I went, well, wait a minute, I don't want University of Cincinnati to be up there. Nobody's going to know me from that. And so I kind of played with it and figured out, oh, I can put Case back up there, even though Case is technically an older education qualification for me. So, yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? Good. Number 3. Okay. Well, number 3 is going to show up right above the screenshot. So right above, where it says Cincinnati, Ohio, 94 connections, contact info. That's where this is going to show up. Cool. This is the about section. And this is where you can kind of expand on your headline. Whereas your headline literally should just be 1 line or like a couple words. This is where you can kind of explain what that line means to you and build onto your brand. So there's 3 questions you want to ask yourself. What do you want people to know? Why are these people looking at their profile? And what kind of brand do you want to create? So what do you want people to know? If someone's looking at your profile, you think to yourself, if there is one thing that I want them to walk away from their computer after seeing my profile, what is that thing? And for me, it's literally like, you know what? If someone walks away and the only thing they can remember is something about books, like, you know what? Victoria has something to do with books. That's fine. I'm cool with that. I like that association. That fits my brand. That's perfect. If you want someone to walk away and go, that is a, no, I'm blanking. If you were using word like problem solver or people, if you do like people or building people, relationships, like, oh, I think that person sounds like a really good person to maybe sit down and have a cup of coffee with. That person seems like I could go to them and talk to them about what's bothering me or talk to them about a problem I'm having. That, or just that general feeling, that's fine. So this is the section where you get to kind of put those seeds and plant those seeds in their brain. But with that, you really want to think, why are people looking at your profile? So for me, I've got people looking at my profile because they're curious, because I had to look at their profile in order to get them onto my bosses. And so like, why is this Victoria Radcliffe person looking at my profile? Because if you play for platinum, you can see everyone who views your profile. And so they go check me out, like, who is looking at my profile? And so this is a chance for me to say, hi, this is what I do. And then maybe someday in the future, I'll have an interview with them and they'll think, oh, Victoria Radcliffe, I know that name. And even if they don't remember that's why they know my name, that might stick of like something about books, something about literacy, that might still be there. And then what kind of brand do you want to create? So for me, again, it's literacy. If your brand is your company, if you are the face of your company and that's your brand, that's perfectly fine. Because a lot of companies, you rely on working with other companies. So maybe you want someone to go to your profile and think, oh, this person is a really good representation of the University of Cincinnati. They're so professional. I want to work with that organization. If that's why you're using your profile, that's great. If you're using your profile to find jobs and the people that are looking at your profile are the recruiters or the people who might be interviewing you, that's what you want to focus on, right? Is you might want to put your skills in the about section. You might want to say I have working towards nonprofit leadership position. You could put, I think my mom says, I think hers is very focused on problem solving. And so hers says like passionate problem solver, committed to building relationships in the workplace in an effort to improve children's health, something like that. So you want them to understand where you are in your career, in your professional life, which is why in mine, I have my education first, because I have actually been told that my LinkedIn was confusing. I have a lot of small part-time positions. I worked a summer job, and then I was a daycare assistant teacher part-time, and then I went full-time, and I went back part-time. I worked part-time as a theater teacher at another organization. So people were a little confused, and I got that feedback working at ProMark. So I'm working towards this graduate degree. And when you're working towards a degree and you're a student, people go, oh, that's why you don't have, a consistent full-time job. That's why you haven't had that for the last year, is because you are a student. So that kind of clears that up, right? Okay, any questions here for step number 3? All right, our last step is accomplishment statements. And hopefully you all have been doing this in your resumes, so you can just copy and paste. Does anybody know what an accomplishment statement is? Would like to offer us a definition? Maybe. No. Anyone want to guess what it is? Okay. Well, an accomplishment statement is a statement that you would use in your resume when you are describing your position, and you need to have a problem and how you fixed it, and then the result. So those are the three aspects of an accomplished statement that you need to have. And you should be using these in your resume. And then I literally just copy and paste it from my resume into my LinkedIn for my experience section. So a really good example of this. Here we go. So manage schedules and databases for employees, resulting in more efficient operations and communications. So it says what I did and how I fixed the problem. So it resulted in efficient operations and communications. And what I did was I managed schedules and databases. So that is an accomplishment statement because it kind of has that narrative of this is what I did, I fixed the problem, and this was the result, right? And you want to have those. Ooh. Okay. Sorry about that. The other one that is good was in the head teacher school age program. So connect with and engage with community partners to create valuable summer experiences for children. There's what I did and how it positively impacted my position and the clients. In this case, it's the children, but how it impacted those clients, right? And that should be in every single job that you have on your resume or you have in your LinkedIn experience. Those should be there. You want to have those because those are going to show your company that, oh, this person is a problem solver. This person takes initiative and brings something to the position. And if they were able to do that in these positions, they can do that here, right? So, any questions about accomplishment statements or how to include them in your resume / LinkedIn profile? Okay. So just an overview, the 4 steps are to have a professional picture that has the focus on you with a non-distracting background. Make sure you're smizing. Second step is to have a strongly branded headline, the good cover picture. You want your picture to be centered on your face. You want your about section to expand on your headline and show people why you're on LinkedIn, what you're trying to accomplish. And your accomplishment statements under the experience section that you list under each company that you worked for should have measurable goals, things that you accomplished, problems you solved. Good buzzwords are like efficient, results, solved a problem by doing this, or created this in order to remedy something. Those are all good words to have there. So those are the 4 things that are the meat of your LinkedIn profile. There are lots of ways to use LinkedIn, but once you've got these, then you are set up to have people look at your profile and go, oh, okay, I feel like I know who this person is. We have got, so it's 1:41. So I'll have you guys ask any questions you'd like to ask me about anything we've gone over or anything else with LinkedIn. I do have pretty good knowledge of how to utilize LinkedIn in job searching and networking and things like that. So, you guys have any questions? Guess we can come back to the question I asked. With step 2, does anyone have an idea of how they might go and update their profile now that we've gone through all these steps?
Probably going to end up redoing my photo anyways, since it's been close to a decade.
Good. Yeah, it doesn't have to be professional as long as it, it's close up, professional clothing, non-distracting background. Perfect.
I've had the same LinkedIn profile since I was like a freshman in high school because my high school made us do stuff on LinkedIn. And I think I just have like a lot of old stuff that I should probably take off of it. It's just like, things I did in high school. And I went through when I was in college and cleaned up a lot of it, but there's a lot of like, there's just, I think looking at it, even me looking at it, I feel like it looks a little bit messy and there's just like a lot going on.
Yeah, this perfect time. It's a weekend. I didn't say this in terms of like life events, but pictures of you at a wedding or at a prom are very obvious that it's at a wedding or a prom. I think it's so funny. My brother, his is him at his prom, and it is just him, but it's so funny because I'm like, dude, nobody wears a tux except like at a fancy event. So you can very much tell that he's at his prom. He's got like the cheap bow tie. It's like a bright red bow tie. So I don't know. I don't know if your picture is any of those things, but if it is, you might want to change.
Yeah, I think I need to update my picture too. The picture that I have is a very nice professional photo that my cousin and her dad's opened a photography studio a couple years ago. But like you were saying about the hairstyles, my hair is drastically different. So maybe I'll have her do that on Thanksgiving.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah, I have seen so many bad pictures. It's just so bad. The ones that are the worst are the ones where it's very obviously at a party and they're like hunched over and they've awkwardly like zoomed in, but you can still like see the other shoulders and the lighting is awful and you're just like, why did you pick that picture? Why did you do it? So,
Probably because it was convenient.
yeah, probably. The woman who it was something I had to meet with them and they had a gender neutral name and their photo had an orange filter over it that obscured the picture so much I could not tell anything about how they looked. It ended up being a woman. But so I'm like walking around in the lobby, like asking all these different employees, like, are you this person? And one of them goes, no, she's a girl. I was like, okay. Where is she? I could not find, so, yeah. Yeah. All right. I think we're about done. I hope that you all got something from this and you'll go out and have amazing LinkedIn profiles. Good luck if anyone is in the job searching process. I wish you luck. If you're in the process of rebranding, I wish you luck. Yeah. Cool. I will go ahead and sign off. I can figure out where it is.
Thank you.
I need to get out of this presentation word. Okay. Stop share. Okay. Hello.
Thanks for actually doing this.
Yeah, I was very excited. All right, if you're going to the 2 o'clock, good time learning how to job hunt in these uncertain times.
Yeah.
We're all-
Fortunately, my industry is still looking for people.
That's good. Okay.
Now I gotta go check the puppies before going to the next one.
All right, good seeing you, Sean.
Good seeing you too.